Good morning, Facebook world. Leash here. Wanted to reach out, do a quick live. Was on a run this morning, running through our estate, listening to this awesome podcast, and just thinking about a couple of calls that I've had this week that I wanted to just kind of unpack with you guys to help you understand how to create the plans that you need when you need to pivot in your life. So one of the analogies that I heard that I thought was really powerful was, what's more important, the captain or the boat builder? When you're on a ship with precious cargo and precious people and souls and crew, what is more important? And of course, my first thought was the captain. And I'm like, his response was, actually, it's a boat builder, because the captain is only as good as the craft that he's actually captain of. And I was thinking about this in terms of our business. The reason that, the only thing that we can do is manage what we've got. So if we haven't got the structure or the blueprint or the plan that we want, our business can only be managed to the capacity that it's currently running. We can't manage it to any further capacity. Now, I know how important, and we often talk about this in the book, for you guys who haven't read it yet, I know a bunch of you have, but we often talk about goal setting and planning. Normally about this time of year, James and I start thinking about the next year. So 2019, what are we going to do? What events are we going to be running? What are the rocks that we're going to put through the year? What are the pebbles and what's the sand? And, what changes do we need to make with the family life? And, more often than not, we will both have some things to say. We'll both bring, we go through a bit of a process ourselves, each of us, and then we actually bring that together, and then we in unity, work through it, which is really cool. Now, what can happen with so many therapists is, and the big mistake I see, is that people do one of two things. They either will plan really, really thoroughly for the year. They'll plan everything out super, super well, but they don't take action. They get stuck in the planning phase and don't actually move forward because they're still stuck in actually trying to figure it out and trying to get it right before they'll actually take action. And the other mistake I see people make is the opposite, where it's like they pivot. They don't just go forward and make a plan and start taking action on it. They're just like, no, I'm not going to make plans. I'm just going to keep pivoting based on what my gut's telling me. I'm more just sort of go with the flow. But the problem is that with those guys, they don't have any structure. There's no solidarity to go, or accountability to say, right, these are the things I need to get done. So when it comes to running a business, we need a bit of both. We actually need to have the structure. We need to have some planning that says, these are the things I'm going to put in place, and asking great questions like, how am I going to make this happen? If my goal is to see this many clients a week, what do I need to do to make that happen? Do I need to get some help? Do I need to get the book? Do I need to do those Facebook things that I know I should, these lives? What is it that you need to actually do, and how can you get it done? Rather than going, why me? Why isn't this working? Why did all this happen? Because a why question will only ever justify your shitty behavior and whatever the strategies that are actually being run in your life right now. So if you want to be able to grow in your business, you've got to do a bit of both. You've got to have a plan in place that you can take action on, that you can pivot when necessary, because sometimes not all actions, not all plans go perfectly. In fact, they really do. But, what's really interesting is, if you have a look at like NASA, when they shoot up a rocket into the, up into space, it actually takes one swimming pool of fuel per second to get it up and off the ground. Like, that's a lot of rocket fuel. One swimming pool per second to get it up and off the ground. But when it's up there, once it's up, it actually is quite economical, and they reckon that it runs on the same as a heavy vehicle. And the really interesting analogy I think with this is that when we plan really well, when we've got the structure in place, when we've got the accountability in place, it enables our business to just literally hum along, ticking. Now, it doesn't mean when it's humming along that you're just hands off, not doing anything. It does mean you've still got to take action. You've still got to walk in the right direction. But once that base is there, everything changes. Absolutely everything changes. Probably for the last 4 or 5 years, James have done this kind of looking through the year into next year, going, right, what are we looking at? You know, we're looking 6 months ahead. Where do we want to go? Where do we want the business to go? What are our targets? And actually making those decisions, whether it was running the clinic and looking at client numbers and looking at staff and turnover and growth and, you know, what we are paying ourselves and all that sort of stuff, or whether it's looking into this business doing the same thing, and also then mapping it across the family, because there's no point you know, creating these amazing business decisions and goals and then, you know, checking in eventually with your partner who's going, well, that's not what I want to do. I don't want to do that at all. So you're not unified in how you want to actually live it out. So you've got to be unified in the way that you want to do this with your family, you know, if you've got a family, particularly, you know, a partner or significant other in your life. You want to be able to be on board with them so that together you can create this amazing future, even if they're not in your business. So I think it's a really great lesson to be going, you know, you need the foundation, you need the plan in place, and then you need to have the behavioral flexibility to be able to pivot when necessary. And the thing that I really want to say to anybody listening to this, if you are in a situation where things are really tight financially for you right now, I want you to remember that you have tools in your hands. There is no one coming to rescue you. There is no Superman or superhero that goes, right, you know, yay, bam, this is how we're going to fix your life. But if you can ask the right question, ask yourself, what is it that I can do? How can I help us dig ourselves out of whatever's going on? And remember that you've actually got tools that you can use in your hands. That's what I love about massage therapists, and we forget that. We look at our circumstances, we look into our finances and go, it's all really tough and scary or whatever. And you know what? We've got tools that we can use. We've got ways that we can actually generate income, and we are so incredibly blessed. And I know not everyone's in that position, but I've spoken to a few people this week who have said, you know, I'm going through some really tough financial circumstances, but there's like a disconnect between awesome tools and the possible outcome that they could be creating for their families. And it's a really great reminder to get those foundations in place, remember that we've got tools, and then to take the action required until you get to your goal. If you're seeing 5 to 6 clients a week right now, and your goal is 25 clients a week, doing just 2 steps will not get you there in a short time frame. It will get you there, sure, if your trajectory and speed is that you want to do it in 5 years, rock on. But if you want to get to where you want to go quicker, you've got to take massive action. And you've got to have a good plan to be able to go, right, this is what I need, and this is how I'm getting there. So that you literally know what the steps are. And it takes the thinking work. It takes the guesswork out. So many people that I speak to are just there going, you know, I think I should do this, or I tried that, or I tried this. And it's like what people usually try is the easiest, lowest hanging fruit possible that often will not result in a great return. You know, handing out your business cards to a cafe is great. It's a step, but it's one tiny step on the path of 150 steps that you're going to need to take in order to get fully booked and have consistent bookings coming through your business. And that's the reality of the situation. So many people sit there going, oh yeah, I'll just do a couple of things. It's like, no, don't wait. Business is like a bike. The only way you can learn to ride your bike is that you've got to get momentum. Someone can say you got to put hands on the handlebars, you got to move your legs on the pedals. You know, none of that matters until someone gives you a great big heave-ho and pushes you along. And then you go, oh, that's what it feels like to have balance. That's what it feels like to have that momentum. That's what it feels like to actually ride on a bike. Business is exactly like that. You've got to do a lot of work, and it's hard and it's tricky, and you got to fall over and skin your knees, and you got to get straight back on again and keep riding that bike. And that is how you get to become a successful business owner. That's how you build consistency in your business, by being consistent in the action that you're taking and learning what the steps are. One great way, grab the book, read it. You know, James and I will say, we've invested around 150 grand in our education, on business, on knowledge, on bodywork, so that we know the stuff that we know. Plus, we've got over 30 years of business experience together. So running 3 different businesses, 3 different companies, And that is what we put into the book. That's what we work with our clients. That's why we love helping this industry, because we are such a beautiful, touchy-feely industry. And I know the struggles that I had when I very first started massaging. It was just me in my treatment room. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know if it was going to work. I just had this great, yes, I really want to run a multidisciplinary clinic. And I made so many mistakes along the way, which is awesome because I got to learn from them. And, another thing I heard this week is that it's like, don't make mistakes yourself. Pay a dumb tax to someone else who's already made them. Essentially pay someone else who's already made that mistake. So think of it as a dumb tax, that it's like, I don't have to make that dumb mistake ever again. I have literally made so many mistakes as a business leader, and it's been awesome. I'm so grateful for them. We get so scared of having to do everything perfectly all the time, but it's like, make mistakes, stuff up. But if you want to shorten the timeline that it takes you to get fully booked, then get in touch, because this is what we do. We teach people the exact steps that they need to go. And every single person who has followed them gets results. It's literally like, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. Any resistance will only slow down the growth, because people will be like, they will give somebody a step to do, do this. And they're like, I don't want to do that. I don't like it. It's like, guys, the people who get the results the quickest are the most literal learners, literally taking the information and applying it in their lives, taking the information, applying it in their lives. It's almost like you see someone else doing it, so you do it. It's like a baby. Like a baby doesn't fall over once when they start walking and then go, oh, I can't walk. I'll never be able to do it. No, they just look at you and go, well, you're walking, I'm going to try that again. And then they keep going and they keep going, and eventually up they get and walk. And it's the same with business. It's like, take what you need. Look for people who are doing an amazing job and ask them what they're doing. What did you do to get there? How can I follow that? And that's really the message that I wanted to share with you guys today. It's been awesome to catch up. Really good rant from Leash. Remember to plan everything. Failure to plan is planning to fail. The good old adage. Plan your stuff, be willing to pivot. Remember, you have tools. Ask awesome questions, and then reach out and look for people that you can model from that already have evidence of success, and be willing and committed to actually take the steps they're taking. Have an absolutely epic Friday, legends, and I look forward to seeing you in the next live.